Feel free to break up. And we are live, and we are real live. This is going to be the most fun science hangout we have had, I think, in some time. We've already been breaking up for about 15 minutes or so before the recording, and so we're having so much fun I decided to start it right now. Science Island, TWIS Minion Hangout. We have Amy, and we have AJ. Yes, Amy and AJ. There you go.
And R2's.
Fun science people.
R2. No birds this week, though. No birds.
No birds. Going to fun socials. My God, I didn't realize how much fun you guys had at these socials.
You should apply, Ed.
I told you, Ulysses, he should apply. He said that he applied to Wallops but got waitlisted.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, there's always EFT1.
Yep.
Did you apply? Did you apply for EFT1?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Let us know pretty soon.
The 24th, I think. I applied.
Of course.
Yeah, that is fantastic. You have a group of people
I'm going either
interested in space, having fun together, all these socials.
Yeah. Getting to see spacecraft.
Yes, spacecraft. Watching the launches. Hopefully launches.
Have you ever seen a launch, Ed?
No.
I still haven't.
Put it on your bucket list.
I've only seen them from the internet.
No, I think you saw one of the shuttles from your house, didn't you?
That doesn't count. That's not like right there.
I can't see one from my house.
How far away are you from from the launch site, Amy?
Like 40 miles.
40 miles. We're practically on your back door. Good grief, how cool is that?
Real cool.
The night ones you can see really well from here, unless it's cloudy.
Yes, and night launches are the best ones to see.
Definitely.
I was so mad because I was standing out of it. Well, I wasn't mad. I was disappointed. The last SpaceX one was on the causeway again, but this time it was raining and they'd had to scrub it. That's 2 times I've been on the causeway for SpaceX and it's been scrubbed.
Yeah, that's a problem. Man, you think about people who they want to see the launch, and they spend a bunch of money to travel there, and it gets scrubbed, which happens fairly frequently. I didn't realize how much it happens, but it does happen fairly frequently.
It's not easy launching something into space, so.
It's not, but yeah, I spent a lot of money going down there twice for that SpaceX 3 and didn't get to see anything launch. But I made lots of friends and got to see cool things and meet.
It's all about the social, not about the science of the launch. It's all about the social.
Well, let's not tell NASA Social that. But it is part of it.
All right. This is supposed to be a science hangout. Science hangout.
Oh, okay.
I got some stories. I'm not going to spend them. We're having too much fun talking about other stuff, so.
Ed has stories.
I have stories. I've got some stories I can tell. If we want to make this a 18 plus, what's the rating? Not X rating. Well, X rating if you want, but in any event.
17?
Yes, GP17.
NC7, does that mean I have to go have a beer to take part in this conversation? No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. There's only one left in my fridge, so I've been thinking about it.
Well, too bad we don't have our friend Brian Condry, who's in the European time-friendly hangout. He's got his Irish craft beer show.
Ooh.
I like that one.
Me too.
Do you drink craft beer, specialized beer, or just the ordinary stuff?
No, I don't want the ordinary stuff. I want the craft stuff. I will drink the ordinary stuff, though.
What's your favorite craft beer that you can think of?
Oh, jeez.
Well,
Name one. You don't have to pick the favorite, but pick some that you like.
There's so many. I tend to like amber beers, so like Fat Tire, that one's a good one. We actually just got that here. There's some other ones that I don't remember. Like, you have you have the WOB, the World of Beer.
Like the favorite beer?
Flavors, yeah.
No. That's something pretty new. I say pretty new for me. anything that happened in 1970 is pretty new for me. But I mean, it used to be, you had maybe 5 or 6 kinds of beer when you went to the store, and now you got hundreds. And as you say, the variety of flavors is probably just.
Ooh, I had a grapefruit one a couple weeks ago that was really good. It's like refreshing.
Did you say grapefruit?
Yeah, grapefruit.
Grapefruit beer?
Yes.
They
have tangerine flavors and all kinds of stuff. Like Blue Moon's kind of orangey. Yeah, the orange stuff to it.
No, they just put oranges on the glass.
Although I did find a cupcake recipe with that I want to try.
Cupcake?
Yeah, with Blue Moon.
Yeah,
Blue Moon cupcake.
I like the German standards of brewing beer. There's only supposed to be 3 ingredients.
Hefeweizen?
Hef's good.
I like the hef.
See if I can remember.
I like German beer, that's good.
It's not that difficult to make beer.
No,
pretty easy. And so you've got, what is it? You start with the hops. The hops ferment, but then you put in
your malt or your barley.
Malts, and malts stop the fermentations process. And then you put in, is it more malts or more hops?
Some people put in more hops. Like for IPAs, they have hops put in at different intervals.
I'm a big IPA fan.
I don't like IPAs. They're kind of bitter to me. But
yeah, they're super bitter. Do you know the story behind IPAs?
What is it?
Well, it's India Pale Ale.
Yeah, I knew that.
They created it so they could ship beer all the way to India from Britain, and it had to be safe for the entire trip. So they make it super hoppy, and they didn't have refrigeration back then. And for some reason, with all those hops, the beer would not go bad.
Interesting.
And then,
we're talking science.
Actually, it has some iodide here for making brew.
Iodide?
Yeah, it's iodide tincture, and you have to use that to make sure after you're done with the first step of the boiling of the hops to make sure it started to release the sugars in it.
So, I mean, you can make your own beer fairly easily. Brian, I mean, he only had, I think, like a couple of containers. Put up just one corner of his apartment, and that can keep him and his wife in beer for several weeks, maybe a month, from just that one setup. And you can experiment and find out what the right combination that you want. Science, experimentation.
It's one of the oldest sciences.
Since we're talking about fun topics, I'm going to throw this. This is your investment opportunity of a lifetime. Amy, AJ, you can get in on the ground floor of this Kickstarter. Now, if you go to the in the chat area, you'll see it says investment opportunity.
Oh, I think I saw it.
Now.
Yep, I see it.
Now, I don't want to get too technical on you guys, but the starting point is, come on, let me get the screen share for you. Screen share is very important for this particular study. There we go. You have these clouds up in the sky, and they form. And when they form in the right way, you get what we call rain. Okay? Now, this rain falls down on you. And if you walk out in it, you'll get wet. And nobody wants to get wet. Here's a couple of Chinese research and development team. They were working at the University of Nan something. I'm not going to say Nantucket, but I don't think that's right. And there you have The Air Umbrella. 2 years of research. I don't know how much money it cost them, but they are now have a Kickstarter, so you can get your own, there you go, your own air umbrella.
Looks like a microphone.
It looks like a vibrator.
Oh, okay. What?
It kind of does. Look at the picture.
You're exactly right.
It looks like a. I'm sorry, like a. Have it. There's a Sex and the City episode on it. What is that thing? Sharper Image. It had like this big episode at Sharper Image, and she's like, "I need to return this vibrator," and he's like, "We don't sell those." She's like, "Yes, you do." You just don't know it. That's what it looks like. It's even picked, or like a microphone, but Microsoft.
That it could. Maybe you could have a karaoke show. Maybe it's a multi-purpose. I mean, it's shooting air out, so I don't know.
None of this is getting any better.
$118 for your air umbrella, and this is a science education put to good use. What do they talk about? What they put into it? Its components. You got a lithium battery. You got a motor. You got a controller. You got a master switch. You got bells and whistles. And it's a Kickstarter. They've raised like $30,000. This particular device will apparently cost you $118. So there you go. You can get on the ground floor of this new technology. But you know what? Wow. You start talking about vibrators and AJ leaves. I don't know.
Did he leave?
I was going to say, Amy, I'm going to bet you got something in your closet that'll work just as well as your air umbrella. I don't mean a vibrator. That's not what I mean.
You mean an umbrella?
A regular old umbrella. This is what happens when nerds take over the world.
I have an umbrella, but it's not in my closet. It's by the front door.
Their parents spent, I don't know, maybe $100,000 on their education in college, and these two guys, and what do they come up with? An air umbrella. What else we got here? Well, we got your article. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, Amy is a serious science writer.
Yes.
Actually is a professional writer here. And on Spaceflight Insider, not a public, is that online? That's strictly online, right?
Yes.
Okay. And they're talking about Maven. And the first, in fact, let me screen share that one as well. There's some neat pictures.
I know, I wished I could put all of them in there, but I couldn't.
It's, I'm really doing good with the technologies today. All right, there we go, Maven. And here are some of the first pictures.
Hey, welcome back.
AJ. Are you there, AJ?
He's there, I can see him.
Okay, he's hiding. He's having problems with him. Now, forget about it. I was going to say he's having problems with his equipment, but then that gets us into a whole nother.
No, I lost my connection.
So, Maven.
Okay, pictures. Pictures taken by Maven. And a couple of paragraphs here that really stood out. And one is they're talking about all the instruments are showing data quality that is better than anticipated. So it's really working well.
And it hasn't even started its science mission yet.
Right. It's in the test phase. I mean, when you think about everything that went into this particular mission, and it's working. Not only is it working, it's working better than expected. Turning out to be an easy and straightforward spacecraft to fly. So, I mean, they're flying this thing from Earth. They're sending signals, you know, I don't know how many miles away, and they're able to control this particular satellite.
About 69 million miles, I think.
It's amazing.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, and it takes 12.5 seconds for us to get data back and forth.
12.5 seconds.
I believe.
No, I think it's like it's longer than that.
It's,
I don't know. I thought it was like 12 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 12.5 minutes. Yeah, because whenever it was arriving at Mars, it took them like half an hour to see if it got there or whatever. So yeah, 12.5. That sounds about right.
I can probably pull up my Maven drawer and find out.
That could be a little tricky. Not too bad if you're talking about you're just maneuvering the satellite around. If something was coming up and you wanted to move the satellite to a different place, that would be a problem. You've got like a 12-minute delay. But here's another amazing thing to me. There's another paragraph in your story. The hydrogen and oxygen coronas of Mars are the tenuous outer fringe of the planet's upper atmosphere, where the atmosphere meets space. In this region, atoms that were once part of carbon dioxide or water molecules near the surface can escape to space. These molecules control the climate, so following them allows us to understand the history of Mars over the last 4 billion years. That's freaking amazing.
It is.
You're going to be able to, they are going to be able to collect data, make observations, and then create perhaps a history of the Martian atmosphere going back 4,000 years?
Yeah, it's just...
Okay, it's actually 442,000 miles. And it takes 12.4 minutes to get data from Mars to Earth.
Which is exactly what Amy said. Good memory, Amy.
He came up with the numbers. I just said minutes, not seconds. Teamwork!
Yes, all that beer you've been drinking.
But I haven't had
getting your
any.
brain
I had
cells.
water all day.
It's just on our mind.
Yeah, I just want some.
What else we got here? Let's see.
Oh, and another thing is Comet Sighting Spring is going to do a flyby.
Yes.
A Mars flyby this weekend. And they moved, Maven's going to take some measurements of the atmosphere to see if the comet has any effects. And MRO and Mars Odyssey is also going to try to take some images and measurements of the comet as it goes by. And hopefully, it's kind of dusty on Mars right now, but hopefully Curiosity or Opportunity can get a picture of it. If so, that'd be the first picture of a comet from another world.
Yes, that'd be
like
really
how
nice.
cool is that?
That is amazing.
It's the size of a mountain, this comet.
I know, and they moved the orbiters out of the way a little bit just in case there's dust, extra dust and everything from the comet, but so they did have to maneuver them a little bit.
Well, here's a question I have. If a meteor hits a spacecraft, is it still called a meteorite?
Yeah. Because micro ones hit the space station all the time, so.
Yeah.
I believe the answer is yes. But yeah, very exciting. Maven's so cool.
It is.
Is that going to be broadcast live?
I'm sure it will on like SLU or
Ustream.
yeah, probably like NASA's Ustream.
That's another just, I mean, this has got to be the greatest time in the world for anyone interested in astronomy. I mean, even if you go back into the 70s, probably even the 80s, you had to go somewhere, to a university or something, and maybe you could find a place like a telescope that could give you a telescopic show. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but it wasn't something. Now you just press a button, and you're on the internet, and there it is live. And then you can have friends join in, and you can hang out. You can have some sort of a drinking game, I imagine. That's always fun. Okay, quick story. Quick interesting thing I learned. The Milky Way galaxy is a bully. You don't want to live near the Milky Way galaxy. If you're another small little galaxy, you're in big trouble. And this is the National Science Foundation. Let's see. The Milky Way galaxy is actually the largest member of a compact clutch of galaxies bound together by gravity. Swarming around our home galaxy is a menagerie of smaller dwarf galaxies, the smallest of which are relatively nearby dwarf spheroids. I think that's how you pronounce it. Which may be leftover building blocks of galaxy formation. Then you've also got further out similarly sized dwarf irregular galaxies. So you got two kinds of galaxies within the proximity of the Milky Way. And the astronomers wondered that after billions of years of interaction, the nearby dwarf spheroidal galaxies have all of the same star-forming stuff that we find in the more distant galaxies, the ones that are smart enough to stay away from the Milky Way. And previous studies have shown that more distant irregular galaxies have large reservoirs of natural hydrogen gas, the fuel of star formation. But what they found was in these smallest, more nearby dwarf spheroidal galaxies, forming natural hydrogen gas. What we find is there is a clear break, a point near our home galaxy where dwarf galaxies are completely devoid of any traces of natural atomic hydrogen. Beyond this point, 1,000 light years from the edge of the Milky Way, star-filled disk to a point that is not to that is thought to coincide with the edge of its dark matter distribution. So what it comes down to is our galaxy, the Milky Way, is basically sucking all that natural hydrogen away from the smaller, closer nearby galaxies so they can never form a star.
Interesting.
I thought the elements were very evenly distributed no matter where you went in the universe.
That can't be true. When you say distributed, if you were near a black hole,
which is at the center of
that's kind of screwed up. And that's what you've got a black hole at the center of our galaxy. Right. So if you've got something with a large gravitational force, I would think the distribution of most chemicals would not be even.
Well, what's really interesting is the chemicals are pretty much the same in our bodies as they are in the universe.
Yes.
Because we're made of star stuff.
We are stars.
But I know that around really young, hot stars that they have kind of the same effect on other stars that are around them. Because it can't remember if it's ultraviolet or infrared, but whatever they give off kind of strips other stars from being able to form like planets, and it interferes with their protoplanetary disks that are around them, kind of like in the same way that the Milky Way bullies these little dwarf galaxies.
It shows you just how dynamic galaxy, our universe is.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can get, where's my... This is kind of related. And we're talking about Hawking radiation.
Yay!
Which I never... Well, every time I read about it, I learn a little bit more and I get a better idea of what the heck it is. This particular story also, however, raises questions to me about the effect of Hawking radiation. So what they did, basically what they did is they created on a laboratory scale an imitation of a black hole that they say emits Hawking radiation, and emits is the key word here. Hawking radiation is, okay, so it's, you have particles and antiparticles popping up all over the universe. Now, when this combination comes within a certain proximity of the event horizon of a black hole, according to Hawking radiation, what happens is one of the particles falls into the black hole, but the other one
they can shoot out.
Shoots out.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not talking about, to me, you're not talking about matter coming out of the black hole. Now you're talking about, if you can observe this decoupling, you can observe the effects of a black hole. You can learn some things perhaps about the black hole. But this isn't something coming out of the black hole. It's just something escaping from it, isn't it?
Well, it's the only thing that can escape, is what I understand.
I just wonder if this guy's paper was peer-reviewed or not. I haven't been able to find that out. I have the paper.
No, kidding.
You don't what?
Hawking. What does he know?
No,
what paper are we talking about?
I know.
This Nature paper where he said that he mimicked it in the lab and his findings. I wonder if it's been peer-reviewed or not.
Let's see. I'm looking at it right here. Citations.
But I know that the guy that said, that had the paper recently that said that there wasn't anything like a black hole, I don't think his paper was, but I think one of the problems with his paper was that he had too much Hawking radiation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the article that went around like a week or so ago where he's like, there's no such thing as black holes.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point, being peer-reviewed. And the thing is, like, with this particular study, and just about everyone like it, what are you talking about is all they've got is an observation. That's it. They've got an observation. They created what they think might be a black hole-like experiment simulation in their lab. They don't really know. All they know is that they did this experiment and it created, you know, something they could observe.
Right.
What
and sometimes their universities jump on these things and put out press releases, and then they get, not saying that this is what happened, but, you know, they get blown out of proportion a little bit.
Yeah, that's yes. I mean, there isn't anything you can really say that all you can say is these guys did a very interesting experiment.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah.
And if, you know, a bunch of other people do that same experiment and maybe they refine this experiment, you know, maybe they will get some more, maybe they'll get some more information out of it.
It would be really cool. I want to see, sorry, yawning. There was a thing, I think it was floating around yesterday from that Lockheed put out saying that they had built a fusion reactor, I think.
Really?
There's the company and there's the people, I don't know if it's a company or researchers in Canada. And they've built, they didn't build a reactor, but they built that plasma container,
right,
whatever you call it. France has been trying to build one. Not what I mean. It's they've been cost overruns.
Found it. There's a Wired article.
Okay.
I haven't read it.
See.
Here's the link. I haven't read it, but here's the story.
Big advance. Okay. Because that's really the thing. I think when you read about it, it's certainly fusion reaction certainly sounds like it will be able to be more efficient in producing energy than your traditional nuclear reactors. But somebody's got to build one first. Just one. Just give me one.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Fusion, clean energy has the potential. Sure it does. Potential. I don't want to see potential. Prototype. Let's see. These successive prototypes will try to solve the problem. Successive prototypes. Let's see. Lockheed has joined the club. Okay. Thank you very much. Big deal. Let's see. The plasma is finicky. We know that. And we don't want finicky plasma.
There's a little YouTube video I can maybe share on this fusion versus fission.
Oh, there you go.
Let's see a screen share.
What did these guys do? I don't get what they did here.
Who knows?
They're talking about the kind of McGuire designed a magnetic container that shifts the strength of its magnetic field to match those plasma ripples. That's big. You don't want it to escape from the plasma container or whatever the heck you call it. Problem with the reactor, it doesn't exist yet. Well, thank you very much. We know that. I don't know. I'm not impressed. I don't know. I don't see what. Oh, it's. Okay, they did, according to, where was it? Where are we? McGuire. So he's talking about building a kind of plasma container. Okay, well that would be important.
That looks like one.
It doesn't actually say that he built it though. There's some kind of a prototype.
Take a gas, and eventually it separates into its ions and electrons. If they're smart enough, they can overcome their mutual repulsion, and they release a lot of energy.
By any chance?
Yeah, can you not see it?
What we're trying to do is that reaction here on Earth. We put it in.
Here you go. Fusion, yeah. Can you see it?
I can.
A magnetic bottle that can
reading the article.
Hundreds of millions of degrees. We can release in a controlled fashion that energy. Potential stats. What this concept does is it's a high beta concept, which means we use a high fraction of the magnetic field pressure. We use all of its potential. And that means we can make our devices 10 times smaller. So instead of something the size of a building, we have something the size of a large truck.
That's supposed to be more powerful.
The small is the reason we can do this quickly. If something's small, you can build up momentum, you can develop it fast. It doesn't take 5 years to design it, it takes 3 months. We can design it, build it, test it in under a year. We can do several of these cycles, and we think we can get to a prototype in 5 years. Every time you do plasma physics, you learn something new. And that's why this is a high-risk, high-payoff endeavor. That's what we're doing here, is testing that concept out to see if it really holds the promise that it appears to. And as a defense company, our increasing mission is to enhance global security, and this is how we do that in the energy realm. The world already does 40 gigawatts of gas turbines a year. The gas line going into that gas turbine We're going to replace that with a heat exchanger coming off our fusion reactor. We basically use...
It's a proof of concept.
Completely.
Yeah.
We partner with one of those companies. And we ship fusion-powered turbine plants around the world. And we expand that technology.
Is this thing actually producing any energy at all at this point?
In terms of climate change?
That I don't know.
A 50% improvement.
So they're talking about creating a smaller. That seems to be the key thing here.
It says when this happens, they release a lot of energy, about 1 million times more powerful than a chemical reaction, and 3 to 4 times more powerful than a fission reaction.
Now that's because I think what we're talking about is with fission, you're overcoming the weak interaction. With fusion, you're interaction, and the strong interaction is the strongest, most powerful interaction in the universe. So that's why you're releasing ginormous more times more energy if you can overcome the strong interaction. If you can get that, if you're fusing, you're reproducing what's happening in the nucleus of an atom. So it definitely would be far more powerful. And I believe the guys in Canada, I believe they have built the plasma container. But nobody's actually built that large, full-scale reactor. And the French who have been trying to do it so far haven't succeeded. But somebody got to build one. That would be fantastic. Just one full-scale fusion reactor would be. Now you know you can build one. You know you can build more. And then now you can get people behind it, because I mean I think we need to start a program now. Nuclear reactors. We can do it. A mature industry. We know how to build safe nuclear reactors. And I don't know that we can wait until somebody builds a full-scale fusion reactor before we do anything.
Yeah,
I think we should start building those nuclear reactors now, and then hopefully somebody will be building that other fusion reactor.
They're saying in the next 20 years. I don't know if I'll make it that long. We'll see.
Okay.
I don't
know. How much money you got? I got $10 in my pocket. You think we can put a little Kickstarter here to start our own fusion generating plant?
Didn't some guy over in Europe one in his kitchen, and he got like raided? You can't do that.
I don't know. You get these meth labs can produce a lot of energy when they blow up. I don't know.
Yeah, negative energy, I'd call it. But yeah, they're saying compact fusion will have the potential to power. What did it say? Small city within the next 15 years. So that's pretty close.
And you would, because it's so much more powerful, it's certainly the reactor core itself would be much smaller. And you're not cooling this plasma, you're containing it. And doesn't that reaction keep going and keep going and keep going? So it's self-sustaining in some respects, or it is self-sustaining.
Oh, that's the holy grail here.
Well, it's not completely self-sustaining, I don't think, because even the strong interaction, that's what happens. The weak force eventually overcomes the strong interaction. So even the strong interaction is not powerful enough to last forever.
Yeah. Perpetual.
It's man, somebody's got to build a fusion reactor.
I don't think it'll be long.
Well, take take solar panels.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've gotten better. They're more widespread, but you still don't have that battery.
Right.
That battery where you can store it.
It's storing.
And this is it just demonstrates how hard it is. Because I mean, it's a good source of energy. You even have the companies now. They'll sell you the. You don't have to buy them. They'll sell them to you, and for a monthly contract, they'll repair them.
Oh.
I forget what it costs though. $60 a month maybe, but I don't remember.
Well, that's less than my iPhone bill.
So it's really good technology, but for the number of years they've been working on it, they still haven't hit that holy grail, that battery that's going to put it. When they do, so you can buy that little battery and store up the energy, then the gas companies are out of business. Do you guys have an electric charging station anywhere near you? I'm wondering. I do.
I sure don't.
And that's a problem.
That Tesla power map and their timeline on when they're going to roll out all those power stations a while back.
And Tesla, Patrick would know all the details, but I think Tesla, they're building a cheaper edition of their electric car.
Oh, cool.
Maybe $30,000, because right now you're talking about minimum $75,000.
Oh yeah.
And if you really want one that works the way you want it to work, you're talking about $100,000.
Right.
The self-driving one they've talked about, that's more. That's even more money. So, I mean, Tesla is a fan. I would buy a Tesla in a heartbeat if you have the charging stations, and we have one about 15 minutes from me. Because now you've got 300 miles. You got a car, you can charge it up, and you go 300 miles. With the hybrids, you're only getting 15, 30 miles out of a battery. That's just not good enough.
Let's see here. The range on the 60 is 208 miles. The 85 Tesla is 265 miles, and the 5 is 265.
Yeah, you got to be able to make a trip. 100 miles, 200 miles.
At least, yeah.
And you don't. Well, I don't know how often do people gas up. People gas up once a week. So if you can reach the point where you could just gas up or charge up once a week.
Yeah, that'd be
nice. You could do it.
What if you're in a big city and you get caught in all this traffic and you're stuck for 2 hours? I don't think it's going to last very long, and then you are stuck with a $100,000 car. You got to get towed.
Do they generate power when you're braking as well?
They should if they're smart.
So it isn't. I mean, so you're not just continually expanding energy when you brake. You're also building energy.
I'm taking a look at it now, but I know that's been talked about for years.
Okay, Amy. Got $100,000 for your Tesla?
No.
Getting there. She just got published in the Smithsonian.
Oh,
yeah, I saw that.
How exciting.
I had a question. I'll throw out the question now. Talking about space and stuff. What's going to happen? Now, I was going to say, when you pick up your newspaper, but nobody reads newspapers anymore. Then I said, when you turn on your television, but people don't rely on television news. So you turn on the internet. The internets, your news feeds on the internet, and it says life found on Mars. How much, when that happens, if and when that happens, how much an effect do you think it'll have on our society? You think all of a sudden people are going to say, wow, we got to go spend a lot more money on space exploration? You think it'll help spur funding of space exploration? Will it change? This is heavy stuff here. Better go get your last can of beer there, Amy. This is heavy stuff I'm talking about.
I got some more water.
Okay. Will it change? Will it challenge more people to think about life?
I would hope so.
It'll change.
I think it could go either way. I think it could go either way.
Okay.
You know, it could it could spur people to want to go explore more, but then you could also get like that little group of people that wants to panic because they're like, oh, you know, no matter what kind of life that they discover, whether it's like a microbe or like an actual organism that would be, you know, relatable to humans. But I think that it's probably going to, like, the first signs of life are probably going to be like some sort of microbe amoeba type thing. But you still are probably going to have like people that get really anxious and upset by it, and then you're going to have the people that are like, yeah, let's go explore space some more. Let's go find some more.
And that's most likely how life started here on Earth, is because it arrived here from, say, Mars. I think corporations are going to be more concerned about going and mining elements from asteroids and other planets than they are concerned about other life forms.
Probably. I mean, I don't doubt it at all. I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. I don't know how that will generate any money. I don't know about businesses, but as far as you want to go to Mars? Does evolution work on Mars like exactly the way it does on Earth? How is this organism functioning? I mean, lots of questions.
What will it look like?
Would it be carbon-based?
No, silicone.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, AJ, you were talking about how life on Earth started perhaps from Mars. Could have been the opposite way. Life could have, one of our microbe bacteria could have hitched a ride on a stone coming from one of our volcanoes, made it up to Mars, and seeded Mars.
Well, missions will help explain that, but I don't think we're going to find the...
there was plankton on the ISS, right? So there is life out there.
Yeah, and there's something on one of the...
diatoms or something.
There's something on one of the rovers, too. So we've taken stuff too far.
Yeah. But, you know, everybody knows I'm addicted to Battlestar Galactica right now. But watching this show kind of makes you think, like, what it would be like. I mean, and I know, like, a lot of sci-fi movies were, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm so engrossed with the space stuff at the moment. But this particular show, you know, instead of, like, a fleet of ships in the ocean, they have a fleet of ships in space. And what would it be like if you could never go to, say, like, the beach again? Or if you could never, like, swim in a lake because you're stuck on a spaceship in the middle of outer space. And there's, you know what I mean? Like, how long? I don't know. It just makes me think a lot about traveling in space and living there and, like, what it would be like and all kinds of questions.
Well, we have to have water wherever we go, so...
You know what, Amy, you're watching the wrong science fiction shows. In Star Trek, and one of the Star Treks, they got a whale. They picked up a whale, and they had that had to be a whole lot of water on that. That Voyager or whatever the heck it was. So.
I don't think I saw the Voyager series.
Oh, that was one of the movies.
Star Trek, I'm sorry.
Yes, no, I know. But there's like a couple different series and things as far as Star Trek goes that I haven't seen. Like, I haven't seen Deep Space Nine. Things like that. I'm making my way through them.
So much of those. I mean,
I don't know why though, but I think it's just something about this just really made me like consider what it would be like.
I was reading the other day where Roddenberry's wife left a couple $1 million to the dogs.
I mean, they weren't the first ones. There's been a few people that have done that.
Third
they had like a trustee.
Dog in the world or something.
Oh, geez, William Shatner is still going strong. Maybe that guy's an alien. I don't know. He's in his 80s.
Maybe he's a Cylon.
There you go. He's a Cylon.
Oh.
What other stories you got for us, Ed?
Well, I do have a couple of stem cell stories. Dale is not here to explain them terribly well, but I can talk about them briefly. One is helping people recovering from a heart attack. And they would do that. You know how you have scar tissue forms after a heart attack? They would turn that scar tissue into endothelial cells so that they would generate blood vessels to supply oxygen and nutrients to the regions of the injury. And Dale is here. I immediately start talking about stem cells, and who shows up but Dale? There you are, Dale.
Did I miss the whole thing? Were you just saying goodbye?
Actually, I was just getting started into our favorite subject, stem cells.
All right.
I talk about stem cells, and there you go. Pop right up.
Do you want to post that list again? Of what you're talking about?
Well, well, what else did we cover? We covered beer, we covered vibrators, we covered a whole bunch of different stuff. What do you got here?
We did. You missed the vibrator talk, Dale.
Vibrators. Huh.
Sex in the City. Yeah.
It was a very exciting conversation. See what happens when you are on call and you have to go to work. You miss all the fun stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna. I mean, I think
that's funny.
I don't know where Amy's mind is at this point, but I'm gonna screen share.
Well, apparently it's on vibrator.
For you, Dale. So tell me.
Hey, I wasn't the only one with that thought.
Dale, what do you think?
Microphone.
That little lady. Do you think she's hot? What do you think of?
I think of umbrella.
Oh, you're no fun.
You see the thing in the little box? You look at that and you think umbrella?
Yeah, they should call it the magic wand.
The magic. Well,
well, it is an umbrella.
It's the air umbrella.
I think you were more in line with magic wand, though.
Oh, that's too funny.
Okay. I will attempt to go over this story very briefly. Back on the science. Back on the serious science stuff. Recovering from heart attacks. And they're doing it. They've got this little switch, this little protein they call, well, it's P53, a well-documented tumor-suppressing protein. And they show that increasing the level of P53 in scar-forming tissues significantly reduces scarring and improved heart function after heart attack. Let's see, it appears that the injury itself can induce fibroblasts to change into endothelial cells so the heart heals better. We found a drug that can push this process forward, make even more endothelial cells that help form blood tissues. After a heart attack, fibroblasts replace damaged heart muscles with scar tissue. The scarring can harden the walls of the heart and lessen its ability to pump blood throughout the body. Meanwhile, endothelial cells create new blood vessels to improve circulation to the damaged area. However, sometimes these endothelial cells naturally turn into fibroblasts instead, and that's adding to scarring. So they wondered if they could flip the switch, turn it around, get more of the healing endothelial cells instead of the scarring. They induced heart attacks in mice and studied the fibroblasts to see if the cells expressed markers characteristic of endothelial cells. To their surprise, almost a third of the fibroblasts in the area of the cardiac injury expressed these endothelial markers. The researchers found that the endothelial cells generated from fibroblasts actually give rise to functioning blood vessels. They wanted to identify the molecule that triggered the switch. They created a list of genes, and they found this one. P53, a protein called the guardian of the genome, because it causes damaged, out-of-control cells to commit suicide. There you go. Which reduces the likelihood they will go on to form tumors. And they got lucky in picking the first one. This is the first one they tried. How often does that happen? Now you got 1,000, you got 300 to try, and it turns out it's on your 299. Okay. So they found that P53 was turned on or overexpressed in fibroblasts after heart injury, and this seemed to regulate fibroblasts becoming endothelial cells. They figured if P53 protein was responsible for the positive switch, then blocking it in mice would halve the transition from scar-forming cells to blood vessel-forming cells. Their experiments revealed that knocking out P53 gene in scar-forming cells in adult mice decreased the number of cells making the switch by 50%. Likewise, the researchers rationalized that upping the level of P53 would increase the number of fibroblasts turning into endothelial cells, and blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what happened. They picked some experimental drug called RITA, R-I-T-A, and they used it to treat mice for a few days after cardiac injury. The drug had dramatic results, doubling the number of fibroblasts that turned into endothelial cells. That is, instead of just 30% of the fibroblasts naturally switching into endothelial cells, 60% switched. Huge decrease in scar formation. There you go. Possible big breakthrough in treating heart disease.
That would be great. What was the other stem cell story we had here?
That blind people seeing again.
Yes, that would be great.
We got blind people. Actually, I got that one out of the way. I need some beer. I'm organized here. And this is actually Dale. This is your story, Dale. Would you like to cover it?
Sure. I'm just trying to pull it up here.
I'm sure you can do a better job of explaining it than I think.
There's the link.
Stem cells allow nearly blind patients to see. That one? Embryonic stem cells can be turned into a therapy to help the sight of the nearly blind. In a report published in the journal Lancet, scientists led by Dr. Robert Lanza, Chief Scientific Officer at Advanced Cell Technology, provided the first evidence that stem cells from human embryos can be a safe and effective source of therapies for two types of eye diseases: age-related macular degeneration, the most common cause of vision loss in people over the age 60, and Stargardt's macular dystrophy, a rare inherited condition that can leave patients legally blind and only able to sense hand motions. In the study, 18 patients with either disorder received transplants of retinal epithelial cells made from stem cells that came from human embryos. The human embryos IVF procedures and donated for research. Lanza and his team devised a process of treating the stem cells so they could turn it into the RPE cells. In patients with macular degeneration, these are the cells responsible for their vision loss. Normally, they help to keep the nerve cells that sense light in the retina healthy and functioning properly. But in those with macular degeneration or Stargardts, they start to deteriorate. Without RPE cells, the nerves then start to die, leading to gradual vision loss. The transplants of RPE cells were injected directly into the space in the front of the retina of each patient's most damaged eye. The new RPE cells can't force the formation of new nerve cells, but they can help the ones that are still there to keep functioning and doing their job to process light and help the patient to see. Only one RPE can maintain the health of 1,000 photoreceptors, says Lanza. Only one approved by the Food and Drug Administration involving human embryonic stem cells as a treatment. Another, the first to gain the agency's approval, involved using human embryonic stem cells to treat spinal cord injury, but was stopped by the company. Because the stem cells come from unrelated donors and because they can grow into any of the body's main cell types, experts have been concerned about their risks, including the possibility of tumors and immune rejection. But Lanza, the retinal space in the eye, is the ideal place to test such cells, is what Lanza said, since the body's immune cells don't enter this space. Even so, just to be safe, the patients were all given drugs to suppress their immune system for 1 week before the transplant and for 12 weeks following the surgery. While the trial was only supposed to elevate the safety, it also provided valuable information about the technology's potential effectiveness. The patients have been followed for more than 3 years, and half of the team were able to read 3 more lines on the eye chart. That translated to critical improvements in their daily lives as well. Some were able to read their watch and use computers again. Our goal was to prevent further progression of the disease, not reverse it and see visual improvement, says Lanza. But seeing the improvement in vision was frosting on the cake. So yay, stem cells.
Yay!
Yeah, that's really good. Like, think of the money that could be saved on, you know, all the maintenance of people that have eye issues. And I think you know, all these advances there's going to be a ton of money saved.
My stepmother, that's what happened, and she went blind. And at that, this was maybe 10 years ago, and they said there was no cure.
Macular degeneration?
She was in her 80s. It was about 10 years ago. Is that the eye condition where they smoke pot to slow down the process?
No, I think that's glaucoma.
Oh, okay, that's glaucoma. Wrong one. And there was another article, I'm not going to bother reading it, talking about diabetes. Just the first paragraph, they announced they have made a giant leap forward in effective treatment for type 1 diabetes. With human embryonic stem cells as a starting point, the scientists are the first time able to produce in the kind of massive quantities needed for cell transplantation and pharmaceutical purposes, human insulin-producing beta cells equivalent in almost every way to functioning beta cells. Let's see. For decades, researchers have tried to generate human pancreatic beta cells to be cultured in passage long-term under conditions where they produced insulin, and now Milton and his colleagues appear to be overcoming this hurdle and open the door for drug discovery and transplantation therapy in diabetes. There aren't any real details about it in the article, but so there you go. You've got helping with heart, taking instead of having scar tissue formed around the heart, we can use stem cells to create new blood vessels around the heart. Then you're talking about certain eye conditions, using stem cells to generate healthy eye cells, I guess. It's really starting to... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said I've never heard of beta cells. Human insulin.
That just means that's like beta testing, first stage, right?
Sure.
I think. That's stem cells. Maybe 20 years ago, I don't remember how long ago I first started reading about it, and they were talking about that, how this could be, I mean, it's going to revolutionize medicine, and you know what? We're getting close to that point right now where it will revolutionize medicine.
Yeah, it's starting to happen. Like, when you think about what we're talking about, if you would have considered what we're talking about right now, like even 5 years ago, what we just said is they're partially curing blindness.
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, that would have been absolutely incredible. And you know, these advances, that we go through, you know, we never really, we kind of get spoiled, thinking, oh well, I wonder what the next advance will be. And but yeah, when you think only 5 years ago, where we were at, this type of thing wasn't even, you know, there was some promise with stem cells, but now they've actually done it. And the great thing is they thought that they were just going to try to halt the disease. So I think all this, you know, as we learn more about synthetic biology and begin to change things at that sort of the blueprint of our DNA, things are going to radically change very quickly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, let's think of... Okay. Amy will be back shortly. Got to reboot her computer. She needs some stem cells for her computer. That's what it is. I think, yeah, these advances are happening at a far faster pace. And 5 years from today, who knows what they're going to come up with. Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty terrific.
You weren't here were you here last week? I don't think you were, Dale. Even when we were talking about the
first hour, I was
the penis transplant.
Yes.
Same exact thing. Stem cells.
Yeah.
There you go. And unfortunately, there you're not talking about doing it with your own, but maybe someday you can.
You can even make it with them.
Any organ of the body, if you can just inject or transplant stem cells into it and turn unhealthy cells into healthy cells, wow.
Yeah, and it's really software.
I didn't think about it, Dale, but you're right. How much money we're going to save?
Oh, tons.
That's billions. I mean, in the United States, one of the budget problems was Medicare. How much money people are spending on Medicare? Billions and billions of dollars. So much of that would just go away.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Billions more money for space research.
I don't think the farm companies are going to allow that to happen. Pharmaceuticals.
I think just like every big business, no one is protected from disruption, and it's that the same greed that the companies want to make more money. Small companies want to make more money too, and if they can take out a larger company, they'll do it. So it's all about competition, and big companies move slow generally. They're very clumsy, and they get really good at carrying out a certain function and repeating it over and over, and really get efficient at whatever function is. But the ability to adapt and change for a large company, they're ripe for disruption, I think. Yeah. And just like radio, what happened to radio? Like they thought they were too powerful. The broadcast media was another one. It's all radically changed. Everybody thought they were too big to be disrupted, but it keeps happening.
Big corporation. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, well, and big corporations have to answer to their stockholders. So it's easier for small companies to make big leaps in technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So that competition should push us along, hopefully. And
that is the key, competition.
Mm-hmm.
And big companies don't like competition.
Oh, no.
That's big companies. One, they're in the business of mitigating risk. They want to lessen the risks that they need to take. And if they can monopolize a particular industry, then they don't have to take a lot of risk. But the smaller company, the smaller individual entrepreneur, can take the big risks that lead to that next leap in technology. And well, as long as we live in a democracy, then the big companies can't control. Because, I mean, what happens? You go out on the internet and say, okay, everybody, here's this stem cell procedure. You take it, no more heart attacks. Do you think the big company's going to be able to control that? 250 million voters saying, hey, wait a second.
yeah, exactly. So, and you know what? It's becoming software development, and it's really hard right now, right? The human body is really hard. We don't have nearly even close to all the answers, but it is just simply reverse engineering software. Mm-hmm. And at some point, it's going to be typical and easy. They'll have higher and higher layers of, just like a normal computer language, there will be higher layers of abstraction that get easier and easier. And I think it'll have the same foundations of like a high-level software development language, and everybody will be doing it.
Have we decoded all the genome yet?
Well, we really only understand about 5%.
Really? And
so if you, well, there's a ton of stuff. We know a lot about the protein coding regions, and that's called the exome, and they're kind of the workhorses of how the body works. But there's so much really important information. There isn't. I think there's some old software in there. It would be equivalent to, if you write any Microsoft code.
Yes.
Okay, so you go back and you look at the old libraries that were available, and some of them they're ancient, the COM libraries.
Yes.
And but you can still use them and tap into them. It's the same with the human body. We have latent genetic code that's sitting inside of us that we no longer need nor use, and to identify its function is difficult because if it's no longer being expressed because we don't necessarily need it. Like there's code that, and again, don't quote me, but I think there's code in there for a tail.
Yeah. Some people still have those at birth.
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. But I love it. I love that it's going to become software. And languages, I think there'll be higher and higher level languages where anybody can begin to interface into their own bodies at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it won't be like Java, though.
Not a Java fan. JavaScript, yes. Java, no.
Yeah. I'm always battling Java updates on everything, distributed languages.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's amazing what we can do with what little we know.
Yep.
Half of it's just accidents.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum computers, something you'd like to talk about. How much of a difference are quantum computers really going to make? I read a brief article, saw a headline, and the guy said it's going to be revolutionary, it's going to change everything.
It could be.
It could be, but how will it do that? I understand in one case you're talking about speed where you just have a binary code, as opposed to, well, not speed really,
It should be
controlling the spin of an atom, and that can be in many different positions. Explaining this badly, but what it comes down to, I can see where I haven't seen where. I'm trying to think of how to put this.
Well, I can give you an example of how it can make a difference.
Can it do more than, is it going to create us is it going to give us the ability to analyze things much better?
Well, look at what it's kind of already done. And I think I got this right. I think it's a D-wave system. So one of the things that in medical science, in biology, if you can determine a protein's shape, you can create a drug target to go after it and manipulate it. So a lot of the problems we have is there's unknown proteins, and there's proteins out there that we don't understand their structure. So the one study they did, they said that, okay, it took 35 years to come up with 6 different protein structures. And it was a phenomenal number, but the quantum computing platform came away in days, not 35 years, but in days, came out with 8 brand new undiscovered proteins in the human body, whereas it took 35 years to get 6. So that's a massive specific quantum leap in technology. So as software gets written, and that's the big trick here, is to develop the application programming interface. And once they can create a base of APIs that coders can use to reuse to build their own software around it, it'll get more and more powerful. So, and I think it is. You'll see efficiencies in everything.
I hadn't realized they'd come up with that kind of result already.
Yeah, you know, I read through that, and I hope I got that right. But yeah, I think it was a D-Wave story. I'll post. I think I might have posted it in my Facebook. I'll look for that one and send it to you. But yeah, that was amazing. That was really amazing. I think we'll have computers that are I think, to me, the best way to put it is, we were talking about the neocortex before, and the layers of abstraction that make us human to be able to resolve and understand concepts. And that's missing a lot of other animals in the animal kingdom. To me, we have poor AI at the moment. Watson is probably the best example of what we can do. I think quantum computation and the way it works, when you begin to mix systems like Watson with a quantum platform, it's like adding the neocortex layer into a human brain. So all of a sudden, now what if you can talk to a computer that has all this linear processing capability that can look at 10 million clinical studies in seconds, but also have the thinkability, the neocortex, the quantum part of it, that can also make very, very quick decisions more like a human can, the best of both worlds. And then we ask it to solve problems. It could be very, very interesting. But I think the frontier will be software developers. They need software developers.
I like this quote by this Yale physicist. It says, 99% of quantum computing will be correcting errors. That's a lot of energy to be put into correction.
That's interesting. Which physicist?
It's a Yale physicist, Rob. I don't want to mess up his last name.
It's a tough one. Rob Alphabet Soup.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat.
Wouldn't it be better to design systems where there are fewer errors to begin with?
It's very hard to do.
The design stage is really software.
Quantum devices are extremely difficult to build because they must operate in an environment that is noise resistant. So I guess that's the problem.
Oh, when I looked at that D-Wave article from last week or the week before, I know one of the problems was just to get the chips, you had to work under such extreme cold. So just the manufacturing process was difficult. But I saw D-Wave had built that, I don't know, it looked like a stand of some sort. But, so they've really got that ability to create chips, the process for creating these quantum computer chips, to get them under the right conditions at close to sub-zero weather temperature. There was another story we went through today that talked about bringing the temperature of something down to a billionth of the degree of absolute zero. A billionth of a degree. That's incredibly precise. That's amazing that you could have the technology to control it to the point where it's a billionth of a degree from absolute zero.
Yeah, that is pretty incredible.
Very precise.
Yeah, so the atoms settle right down and almost don't move when you get down to that level. And that's when you can exploit that quantum property.
Yeah, when they're creating the chip, quantum computer chip. Okay, so you've got the layers, silicon, layers of silicon. Well, I don't know the material the layers are made up of, and you embed an atom. Might have been a cesium atom. And I'm thinking about New South Wales laboratory. And it might have been a cesium atom, I don't know, whatever it was, but you were embedding the atom, okay? Now, when they say you're manipulating the magnetic spin of the atom, does that mean you're putting it at one state? So that chip has an atom that's in one spin position. Or are you taking that one chip and then as you're working your computer, are you manipulating and changing the position of the spin of the atom?
I wish I knew more about this.
Making any sense?
Why not?
Atoms?
There's two approaches. There's the gate model and the adiabatic model. So D-Wave does the adiabatic model. And I don't know much about the gate model because not a ton has been done on it because it's really hard to do. But the adiabatic model, my understanding is you're bringing them into a state where you cool them down to where the atoms have settled, basically, like they're not moving very much, and you're manipulating the energy level of that atom based on the question that you're trying to ask the machine, and the answer isn't yes or no, it's not 1 or 0, it's caught in that state as they, and I believe this is the way it works. I'm not certain, but I think as you bring the temperature up very, very, very slowly, or maybe it's the other way when you're bringing it down very, very slowly, bringing the temperature down. I can't remember which way. It could be down because then the atoms settle into a state and make their decision based on the question that they're being asked. So you're modulating temperature in order to get them into their state that will be deterministic, rather than being caught like the cat in the box, right? Where it's dead and alive at the same time. I think when you bring the temperature down, I believe it finally settles, and then you get your answer. But that's from about read an article about a year ago, and I remember something like that.
Well, you know a lot more about it than I do. I'm just trying to get this picture of how it would work. And it's interesting. You use the words energy and temperature, and I'm using the word spin, magnetic spin.
Well, there is something called a Josephson junction. I believe that's the name, and there are these rings that they use to exploit the quantum effect. I don't remember all the details on it. I think the different type of spin you're mentioning, you're talking about polarization rather than something going through a medium like these quantum chips. But qubit basically, I believe, are these Josephson junctions. Let me just see if I'm right. Let me type it in. Josephson junction. The Josephson junction is a quantum mechanical device made of two superconducting electrodes. It's a specific example. Josephson phase, the ground state when no external current or magnetic field is applied. So yeah, that's basically how they build these qubits, is with these Josephson junctions. And I found a video once that was really good. They broke it down into simpler terms so you could understand it. So there is a video, probably a YouTube video floating around there somewhere, that has a good explanation on how it works. And that's the adiabatic model. That's a little different than what they're doing with the gate model, which is everybody other than D-Wave.
So there you're talking about two superconductors coupled by a weak link. I wouldn't be able to understand it.
Well, yeah, I think it is understandable. I think the problem is I don't have all the knowledge to explain it, and so you kind of get lost. But there are some good videos I've seen that really simplify it.
That's exactly right. On the internet, you can find a video or something that can explain something, almost any process, pretty accurately. It comes down to how much time you have, really.
I always subscribe to that old Einstein thing where if you can't explain something simply, you don't know it well enough, and I think that's why I'm struggling. I don't know it well enough to explain it simply.
I read that quote just the other day again.
I'm going to throw something out here. The last story I had.
Uh-oh.
This is strictly observational.
Okay.
An interesting observation, perhaps even counterintuitive. And that's a team of researchers found that oil and natural gas platforms that exist off the coast of that state, California, in the world. They monitored 7 natural reefs off the coast of California and 16 platforms over the coast of course of 5 years, some for as long as 15 years. And this is strictly a visual survey of the fish. Anecdotal evidence had suggested that fish tend to congregate around such platforms. Okay. Counted the number of fish that they saw. Oh, that must have been fun. That allowed for converting ocean floor area to a number describing the productivity of that area. All right, what it comes down to is they found out that there were 27 times more fish living around these oil and natural gas platforms than other parts of the ocean and coral reefs. Did we miss you? Yes, we missed you, Amy. We missed that giggle and that laugh, adding your sense of humor.
I'm sure you really missed all the snorts.
So is it just because it's creating a natural habitat that the fish are producing more around those?
Well, what do you? I mean, we create artificial reefs by sinking stuff in the ocean, like ships and things,
Right.
and they become an artificial reef. A platform is just a platform. The fish, they don't care what the heck. They don't care if it's producing oil or anything else. The real issue is, one, you allow the platforms to stay there because they can create such a great environment for the fish, but then you risk, could you get an oil spill? Even once you're finished with the platform itself. Could something happen, I don't know, breaking the ocean floor or something, and you'd wind up spilling some more oil?
Yeah, of course that's a risk. I think fish just like shade. You know, there's no shade in the ocean unless there's clouds. So these are huge platforms out there, and they don't want to sunburn.
Fish can get sunburn?
Well, UV rays are getting stronger. So, yeah, they're scared of the sun.
Heck, we could fish farm. An effect like a fish farm, like a natural fish farm.
Now, is there really a natural fish farm?
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't fish farm synonymous for unnatural?
Farm.
Fish farm. Farming of the fish.
I don't know how. I know that they do it with ponds. That's catfish. Louisiana, Mississippi, and around there, they have catfish farms. Okay. But I'm thinking of ocean farm for salmon.
Yeah.
They may have them. I can't say 100%.
Yeah, they do.
I think they may even have some. I don't know exactly how they do it. Oh my God, Dale's knee. You saw Dale's snobby knees. We don't want to get Amy excited here. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wearing my shorts. They're not that knobby. Well, okay, they are. Stem cell transplant. Make me like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's too muscular. Maybe for some people.
Now that's the key, control. And that's not something a lot of us humans are very good at.
Control?
Control. What about computer-generated music? Lots of people doing it. How about a symphony created by a quantum computer?
Well, then it wouldn't be people doing it, it'd be the computer.
If you could, okay, Amy, you like opera. And opera is you have to have a really trained voice. So, if you knew this particular operatic song was performed by a computer generated, or if it was performed by a person, would that make a difference to you? How much of a difference, if any, would it make to you?
It does kind of make a difference, and I use modern DAWs, digital audio workstations, and most people making electronic music have to a little bit of swing into their music, a little bit of randomness to make it sound natural.
Yeah.
So listening to purely generated electronic music, it doesn't sound right.
I agree with that.
You have to add errors into it.
That's interesting. That makes sense. If you go to, I mean, that's where you go to a show. The performers are not going to perform that note every single time, and they make mistakes. Well, that's part of, the performance. Although we know that I'm sure Dale, when he was in his rock star days, never made mistakes.
You mean pre-knobby knees?
Pre-knobby knees. Who was the guy? AC/DC, didn't he, with the schoolboy outfit, and he had it cut off above the knees?
Oh, no. AC/DC is
What was his name? It still is his name.
I know what it is, but it's not like.
I have to go grab my daughter. Just wait. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay. 1 minute.
1 minute.
What do you guys think about John Cage? And that
Who's
kind
John Cage?
Who's that? Are we back to the 70s?
Angus Young?
Angus Young, that's AC/DC.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they've had 3 lead singers.
Have you guys ever heard kabuki music, Japanese kabuki music?
No.
Very
I
eerie
don't think
sounds, notes interspaced. There's a note, and then there'll be a pause, and then there'll be another note. That's the kind of, well, John Cage makes a lot of different kinds of music. But you were thinking about, I don't know what you call it, abstract music or something. Beyond fusion jazz.
Fission jazz?
Yes!
Fission jazz.
I gotta say that!
Complex though.
Oh. My joke.
Let me see.
I'm just finding all sorts of cool news.
I've gotten on the YouTubes.
You got on the YouTube?
On the YouTubes, a bunch of
I'm looking at nanotubes.
Cage's performance, but I don't know if it's any of the ones. Well, we'll try one. Cigarette commercial. AJ, I'm going to give you the link, and maybe you could set it up so that you guys can get to listen to John Cage.
Alright, I'm pulling it up now. Oh, hold on. Get that there. Screen share. Is it a Winston?
That tells you how long ago this was. And you still have
well, hi there. Now may we have our next contestant, please? Will you come in?
Wait a minute.
Will you tell our panel, please?
Is that not it?
Oh. Rats.
Mr. Cage, and he is from New York. Now, Mr. Cage is a musician. He is a composer. He teaches a course in music.
Go to about the 5, go about the 6 minute mark.
Okay.
This isn't going to work. I can see that. Oh, I'll give it one little shot.
Oh, there's a trout.
John Cage had a performance once where he sat down at his piano 45 minutes and didn't touch the keys. Yeah, that's not one of his. That's one of his weirder ones, but believe me, he's a really good he's a good musician when he wants to be.
Experimental.
Experimental, very definitely. Who was I don't know.
John Cage's 433. Is that it?
I'm trying to think of the name of the. Did Walk on the Wild Side.
Oh, okay. That sounds
He went to the same university, I believe, as John Cage. I think he even might have worked with Cage. And it was Lou Reed.
Frank Zappa?
No, it was Lou Reed and the a Welsh guy what is it? Lou Reed. What was Lou Reed's original band?
Velvet Underground?
Velvet Underground.
And Nico, sometimes.
And when they started, it was a group of university students, and they were doing that very abstract music. And then Lou Reed wanted to create music that was more accessible to a wider audience. And the other band members said, what? What do we care? The drummer didn't like it. And so he had to form his own band. In any event, he was originally, I believe, something of a student of John Cage's.
Did you ever get to see Lou Reed?
Yes.
Really?
New York. I'm 35 miles from New York City.
Well, yeah, that's why I asked.
I mean, I got to see practically, the Boss. Got to see the Boss.
Mm-hmm.
Rolling. You know, I don't know if I ever saw the Rolling Stones.
Mick?
I saw the Beach Boys. I saw, CBGB's.
Right.
That was a venue I went to a lot. There was the Talking Heads, Blondie, and the Ramones. Although the Ramones.
Oh, I love the Ramones.
Oh my God! You like the Ramones?
Yes.
I saw the Ramones when they were just starting out.
Legend.
How lucky.
Joey, the guy, the lead singer, the lead guy.
Yeah.
Stoned out of his mind every time he performed. But they were the most popular act at CBGB's.
Oh,
far and away.
That's
Not the Talking Heads or Blondie was pretty popular, but that's because of Blondie.
Blondie too.
Oh, Blondie is also. They were really good musicians.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, first rap. Were the Police really big then?
No, that was later. They probably performed there. About every group performed there at one point, but I'm talking 70s, early 70s, early to late 70s.
Were you doing the Blitzkrieg Bop everywhere?
Probably doing just about everything.
Hello!
Say hi.
Hi.
Girl with a very spark.
Adorable.
So, we're talking about science. You learned about refraction. Remember with the arrows? You do? What happened to the arrows when they got refracted?
They changed direction.
Yay! So smart!
You
What
play
is on
video
your
games?
shirt?
I'm sorry.
All these questions here, I know. Who's on your shirt? Is it a dog? I can't see it.
It's a dog.
Aww, how cute. It's a little Scotty dog.
Beam me up.
Yes. Beam me up, Scotty.
So, we talked about stem cells today. Do you know what stem cells are? No? What do you think they might be? Do you know what a cell is? Okay.
I don't know, Dale. Putting this poor young girl through a test.
What's this?
It's a
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah. And what do you look at on in the microscope?
Wow.
You look at these things like stems and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell them about your collection of slides?
Ooh, I have some of those.
All right. So can you read them? So you can take out one slide at a time. This is from the pond. So what do we have here for specimens?
Pine leaf.
Pine leaf? Do you remember what the pine leaf looks like? No? Can't remember.
Haven't seen any of these in a long time.
Oh. So she likes to take all these little slides out. There's about 50. And then she looks at them underneath the microscope.
How cool. I want a microscope.
Do you have one?
No, I want one.
Oh, they're awesome.
I still have mine.
And we
It
caught
is
some.
amazing what you can see inside of a little drop of water.
Yes, it is.
A whole universe in there.
Yep, all kinds of stuff. So this one was a little tiny fishy.
What kind of fish was it?
It was, what are those things they would sell? I forgot what they're called. They're always in comic books, and they would make them out to look like people. What are those things called?
Oh!
Amoeba?
A sea monkey?
Sea monkey.
Sea monkey.
This is a dead sea monkey.
Oh, poor monkey.
Why do they call it a sea monkey?
Well, if you look at them really close, they kind of
Look like a monkey?
they look like a sea monkey. Yeah, totally. So, can you tell us anything else about science today?
I don't know.
That's it? Do you want to go back and watch SpongeBob? That's what I thought. Okay, say bye.
Bye.
Bye!
Okay.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Her name is Autumn.
Autumn.
My favorite season.
My favorite season, too. I love autumn, but we just don't get it here. Although, today, or right now, I think it's 60 here. So it has gotten cool this evening, which was exciting.
Uh,
But it was like 80 during the day.
oh, wow.
We had a very warm day it's been in the 70s last couple of days, but we did get some rain.
Yeah, I love fall.
Me too.
Me too. I want to see some leaves. We don't have leaves here. We just have
We
palm
haven't.
trees.
Have you guys been getting any changing leaves and things? Because it hasn't been happening here. I think maybe we're getting too much rain or something.
Yeah, same problem here.
It's all orange and red and yellow here.
Rub it in, Dale.
Tons of color. It's awesome. Sorry.
The only problem I have, Dale, is sometimes you don't exactly tell the truth. I never know when you...
No, honest. What you can do, come up here and I'll sell you some water and I'll show you the truth.
He'll teach you how to use his D-Wave computer, too.
Yeah, I've got one.
But he
In the
won't
bathroom.
cook for you. He will not cook for you.
No, I won't cook. I'm a horrible cook. I'm like, well, unless you like spitting things out, then you should eat my cooking.
I think
Sea
I might
monkey
ready to
soup.
go watch
There you
some-
go. You can make some sea monkey soup.
It's not going to be very filling.
That's true.
I'm going to skedaddle, guys.
All right.
Fun talking science.
Always.
For sure.
I will see y'all next week.
Okay.
You undoubtedly you will be in many socials between now and then, hanging out all over the internet.
Hopefully.
I'll see you, AJ.
Alright, bye, guys.
Thanks for making it.
Oh.
See, now I was sitting here at 9:30 saying, man, nobody's going to show up.
And you
I'm
had
going to have
the
to
best
cancel it.
hangout ever.
15 minutes later, look at the fun started.
Party time.
Yeah.
And what's fun? A fun conversation.
So, is it? Oh, you need it turned on?
I tried to turn Netflix, it's not connecting.
Oh, it's not? Okay, I have an emergency, a Netflix emergency that I have to take care of. One moment.
Netflix.
Oh, Netflix.
Did you see was the latest Tom Cruise science fiction movie?
Oblivion?
No.
Oh, the one after that? The one where he keeps
The one
dying?
after that. Live, Die, Repeat, something like that?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it. I haven't even seen Oblivion, which was good. But I don't know.
I'm not a Tom Cruise fan lately, and I didn't think Oblivion was all that great, but I'm not a big science fiction fan. But that other movie, Live, Die, Repeat, or whatever it's called, that was really very good. A lot of reviewers say it's the best science fiction movie of the year, even more interesting than Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my gosh, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I saw it twice already.
Don't tell me anything. Haven't seen it.
It's so good. That's all we're going to say. Oh, and I saw Dracula. That one was a lot better than what I thought it would be. And I don't normally like scary movies, but it wasn't scary. The one thing that I can note about it is I liked how they incorporated Vlad the Impaler into the Dracula story.
Vlad the Impaler.
Mm-hmm.
That's who Dracula is supposed to be based on.
Yeah, but I think this was the first movie that did that. I don't know. I can't remember another one that did. There might be some out there.
And he's been in several. That connection has been made in several movies.
Okay. I just probably haven't seen them.
The interesting thing about Vlad the Impaler, and that's what he did to his enemies, he impaled them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was true. But he also temporarily halted the invasion of Muslims into his country, Romania.
Mm-hmm. Transylvania. Or so they call it in the movie, but yeah, I think it was Romania.
Have you seen, any of you had a chance? It's a TV series on Showtime or Home Box Office called Penny Dreadful.
No, but I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Now, I don't know, even I got it on iTunes, and people were telling me, "Oh, you subscribe to Home Box Office or Showtime, whatever it's on."
If it's on HBO, I could probably find it.
It incorporates the vampire story. You've got Dr. Frankenstein and his monster thrown in there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Dorian Gray thrown in. So you've got all these other characters. And it's very atmospheric. And I think it's very well done. Halloween. It would be great for Halloween. And I have not seen Guardian of the Galaxies yet.
It's very good. You have to see it.
Based on a movie, on a book, or a video game or something?
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
It's a comic book. Marvel.
Okay.
It's just not one of the mainstream ones. You know, like Spider-Man, Captain America, Hulk.
Marvel has done a tremendous job of making movies featuring these comic book heroes.
Definitely. And they've kind of revamped some of their characters. Like, I think they have one where there's like a female Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seems like all the things from DC Comics that I see are very iffy as far as being kind of more like sexist.
You know, that's what I like. The latest Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're kind of
with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Whether you consider it good or bad, but she was not in any kind of sexy outfit or anything at all.
Yeah, I know.
That I liked. not promoting the sexual image.
Mm-hmm.
Just being, just a regular super person. Does she has? I don't know if she had superpowers though.
Give me about
If
She could tell if you're lying. I know that.
yeah.
Please try to start with that one. Okay.
What do you think about the movie Shields? Shield.
The TV show?
Yeah.
I haven't really gotten into it. I tried to watch it, but then I stopped watching because I hadn't seen Thor 2. And they talk about stuff that are in those. So, but I never really got into it. I don't know. I did, however.
Huh? Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh. I have seen a couple episodes of Gotham, though.
That's good. That's very well done.
Yeah. I didn't realize that was Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I didn't realize that at first. I guess it had been a while since I've seen her. And something else. But it's a good show.
Music. What's something new in opera? Any new opera singers?
That I don't know. I'm sure there are. I usually don't know the singers.
Okay.
I just know the shows. Phantom of the Opera is actually coming here in December, so I really want to go. Which reminds me, I need to look up those tickets. See how much they're going to be. Because we just got a new performing arts center in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be nice.
Yeah, that's great. You'll be almost in the same situation I was. I could just hop on the train and see all kinds of fabulous stuff. And now, because you're near Orlando, you're in that same situation.
Mm-hmm.
Shows all over the place.
Yeah, because we had, or still have, a performing arts center. It's old, and the acoustics in there aren't as nice as what they should be.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen a lot of great productions there. I saw The Lion King. I've seen Wicked there twice. I've seen Phantom there. I've seen Les Mis. I've seen, all the great ones. I really want to see Les Mis on Broadway, though. They brought it back.
Those are interesting stories. That's like you say with the Broadway thing. Les Mis.
Les Mis is my all-time favorite. I don't think there's ever going to be one that can top that. I really don't. One of my favorite characters dies in that.
It's kind of a sad tale, really.
It is.
And
yeah.
the young girl, the song she sings, is she in an orphanage or something?
Yes.
Yeah, something in the sky, Castle
on a Cloud.
Castle on a Cloud.
The movie version with Hugh Jackman is actually pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever want to watch that. Russell Crowe plays a good detective in it, but he just doesn't quite have the singing voice for it. And the one that I was so worried about from the beginning was Anne Hathaway, I think. And she was really good. I was surprised.
Dale, you get to see any shows like Les Mis or...
You like musicals?
Musicals?
I haven't really...
Theater?
Yeah, I've seen a few things come through town, but I'm into dinosaurs and...
I think I have very well-rounded interests as far as stuff like that goes. Like, I like dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are super cool. Every time I look at my birds, I can see a dinosaur. I can see a little mini dinosaur. But, I like sports. I like arts, like opera and Broadway. And space.
And what?
So... space and science, so, just got all kinds of interests.
It'd be harder for you to come up with a list of things you're not interested in.
Probably. I crochet and All kinds of things. Well, I'm not very good at drawing or painting, so.
No, I'm not good at anything of that, but I still am fascinated by it, watching it.
Yeah, I like to watch other people.
You take crocheting as an art. Some of the stuff I've seen in museums. Paintings created using crochet.
Oh, that's true. I did a couple of blankets recently, but...
Crocheted anything for your parrots?
No, they'd probably eat it. They'd probably chew it up. It's probably going to be like a shawl type thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So you don't have to worry about if it's the correct size or not. If it gets too big, you make it a blanket. If it's not enough, you just make it a scarf.
My goal is a scarf. And the thing that's so easy about that is if you make a mistake, you just pull it out.
Have we done an Ebola story yet?
No, but we should, because there's another nurse. We haven't done any Ebola story in a while. And, oh, that reminds me. My friend told me about this book, and my library delivers, so I just got it. I haven't started to read it yet, but it's called Spillover.
Ooh.
And it's all about, they're called zoonotic diseases. It's diseases that jump from animals to humans.
Oh.
So this apparently has quite an extensive chapter on Ebola.
Cool.
Wasn't that true of HIV as well?
Yes, and that's something that I didn't realize, is that it started with a chimpanzee.
That kind of interaction, it's almost impossible. I mean, viruses and bacteria are so amazingly adapted.
They are. Yeah. Well, see, this says, I was going to see if there was like a little snippet that it has in here, like a summary. But it just says that it's a masterpiece of science reporting. And for 5 years, the author shadowed scientists into the field. A rooftop of Bangladesh, a forest in the Congo, a Chinese rat farm, a suburban woodland in Dutchess County, New York, and through their, and into their laboratories. And it says he interviewed survivors and gathered stories of the dead. He found surprises in the latest research, alarm among public health officials, and deep concern in the eyes of researchers. The Spillover delivers a science, history, mystery, and human anguish as page-turning drama. From what innocent creature in what remote landscape will the next big one emerge? A rodent in southern China, a monkey in West Africa, a bat in Malaysia that happens to roost above a pig farm from which hogs are exported to Singapore? In this age of speedy travel between dense human populations, an emerging disease can go global in hours. But where and how will it start? Recent outbreaks offer some guidance. So Quammen traces the origins of Ebola, Marburg, SARS, avian influenza, Lyme disease, and other bizarre cases of spillover, including the grim, unexpected story of how AIDS began from a single Cameroonian chimpanzee. I had no idea about that part, so.
It's amazing that they could actually identify it, its origins that way. The people traveling, diseases are going to travel with people.
They are.
It isn't a question of stopping, it's a question of controlling.
But see, like, what I think is, so they have these hazmat suits, or they're supposed to have them in hospitals when they're taking care of these patients with Ebola. But somehow, with these two nurses, they said that at first they said it was a breach in protocol. But I'm thinking that probably something happened when they were removing their gear, maybe after they came in contact with the patient. Because the one thing that I was reading said the first nurse was taking care of him when he was really sick and like projectile vomiting and that type of stuff. So it would be fairly easy for her to have excess, maybe body fluids on her suit and didn't realize it, and then she contaminates herself when she goes to remove everything. So I don't know what their procedures are, but to me it would make sense to have some sort of like rinsing facility or something where they can get any type of remnants off of your suits before you take them off. I mean, do they not have those types of protocols? I'm not sure.
Isn't one reason it has spread so rapidly is it in West Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have the facilities.
They don't, no. And they don't have the protective gear. They don't have any of that. You know, and it can live on surfaces for several hours. If it's in, you know, say like there's some blood or something on a counter, it can, in room temperature environments, I'm not sure as far as like if it gets hotter than that or colder, but in room temperature, it can live in that blood for several hours.
Okay, how different or similar, I don't know if you guys can answer the question, but is AIDS, HIV compared to Ebola?
Well, see, that was
They're
what
both
I was...
viruses?
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out or find out the answer to that, because I think there's something in the way that AIDS or HIV, whatever receptors or whatever in your body that it attaches to and sort of attacks has, I think that Ebola is very similar in the way that it does that, but I'm not sure.
Because HIV was an epidemic.
It was.
And was controlled. Now, one aspect of the control is the fact that we know how to treat it now.
Mm-hmm. But they do have treatments for Ebola. I mean, I think some of them are still kind of preliminary, but what is it, 90% or 85% of the people that get it die from it? But I think it's because the symptoms are very similar to so many other things that it's hard for them to diagnose it until the virus load is so large in your body.
So it's how quickly you can diagnose it and have the medication administered determines your survival.
That's what I would think. It makes sense. They say that on average, you know, people show symptoms and will test on a, you know, if they do a test, they'll test positive between like 8 and 10 days, but it can do anywhere from 2 days to 21 days. So if you think that you have a flu, because it's flu season, or getting close to flu season now, the symptoms of Ebola are very similar to the symptoms of flu. So
a lot of people die from the flu.
they do.
So, I mean, the thing is, you have a disease that is certainly having tragic consequences, and you don't want it to become an epidemic in the United States, so you want to take steps to control it. But that's true of a lot of other viral diseases.
And there's a lot of other viruses that are easier to spread, you know, and that people can vaccinate themselves against and don't. But for some reason this got so, not like fear-mongering about it, but almost. It's like people are starting to panic about it because there's been 3 cases here now.
Yeah, Dale, you posted an article on Facebook, I saw.
On which one?
Facebook, dealing with the myths, I think, regarding...
oh, the myths on Ebola?
Ebola.
Yeah, like it's I'm more worried about like lots of other things, like just the normal things, car accidents. I'm more worried about car accidents, and I don't think it's going to be a problem, especially all the attention it's getting. there will be a huge overreaction, I think.
I think there already is like a huge overreaction. You have people panicking, and it's like, you don't need to panic.
Yeah. So, yeah, there'll be some unfortunate panic, and people will misrepresent what's going on. But I listened to Vincent Ranincello, his little webcast there, and he's kind of a really well-known virologist, and he's not too worried about it. So
I don't think that there's reason to be at this point. No.
Yeah, like you want to pump money into Africa and the countries involved. They don't have a system to be able to deal with it, and it's very serious there. But I think it'll be fine. Some will get it, and it'll be really bad. Some will die from it, but it won't be. You know, I'm more concerned about car accidents.
It's 10 o'clock.
Are you Canadians bad drivers?
Yes. Have you had anybody from Canada driving down there? You've seen us drive, right? Especially me. I'm the worst. Actually, I'm really good at driving, but I'm really bad at directions. So if you say, "Hey, I'll meet you over here,"
Dale, I thought you were a man. Don't men automatically know directions? Aren't they like
no.
experts in this?
No. It's horrible. I can. I'm good. If I need to weave out of the way really quickly, I can react very quickly. But people that drive with me, they naturally start backseat driving before. Like they do it because they know me. Because usually my head is I'm thinking about DNA or something. So yeah, I don't care where I'm going, and I don't care how long it takes to get there. So I drive on autopilot. And do you ever do that? Am I abnormal?
No.
So you do that too? Where you just all of a sudden, where am I going?
Sometimes.
Yeah, you don't do that, do you?
If it's like a highway, maybe, but if it's just around town, no, not really. Or actually, I'm the worst when it comes to paying attention when, like, I'm supposed to be navigating for somebody. I'm bad at that. I know I should just not do that. Because I'll be, like, thinking about something else, or I'll be engrossed in my phone, and I'll be like, oh, wait, we were supposed to turn back there. You turn!
Oh, yeah, I totally need...
But if I'm driving, it's okay. But if I'm, like, navigating for somebody, I'm not the best. I just have a hard time paying attention, so... Especially if it's like something that I'm somewhere that I'm used to going to. If it's like a completely different place, that's different. But there's a place that I go to a lot, and I'm just like, okay, yeah. I'm sure they know.
I'm great at finding a place, but if I get turned around or coming home, something changes. Then I can get completely lost, completely discombobulated. North from south, east from west, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I don't know directions. I can't tell you directions, but that's okay. I can tell you right and left and this way and that way, but don't ask me to tell you which way is north. I'm direction challenged.
Yeah, I'm not.
I admit it though, it's okay. They're like north. What? Which way is that?
It's up here.
Yes, it's up there.
Point to me. That's north.
Ed's north too.
Everybody's in America's basically. I don't know what part of Florida you're in, but many people are north through there.
Center. I'm like the center of the state. But yeah. Yankees. Just kidding.
I gotta run. I still don't have Netflix running for.
Why?
Because I couldn't figure it out. So I gotta.
Dale, you work for a TV station.
I know. Her network connection died for some reason, so I gotta figure out what's going on. So she's sitting there patiently waiting for Dad to get her movies back.
Sweet.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
A little bit.
You have good kids. You've got some good kids there. I know plenty of kids. They'd be jumping up and down and climbing on the walls. And I want my Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's sitting there thinking about how she can slowly poison me so she can collect the insurance policy. That's more like it. That's my daughter.
Chip off the old block. No.
That's why she's studying with the microscope so much. It's like she poisons human cells in a petri dish to see how they react, and oh, that's not good. I'm gonna keep that one.
Oh, too funny.
Okay, anyway, I better clear out and get that done. But same time next week, I guess.
Okay.
I'll try not to get sidelined. We've had so many people on holidays. I'm doing a lot of cover, so.
Is 9 o'clock? Well,
9
we
is
never
good.
start at the time. If I made it 9:30, if I moved it ahead a half an hour, would that make any difference in your ability to, or it's just, you show up as you can?
Yeah, it's just whenever. It's really
Okay.
we have a server that keeps crapping out, and we haven't been able to fix it. So, but yeah, no, I'll hopefully these holidays will get behind me, and I'll be a little bit more reliable. So.
Or did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was awesome. I had some friends come over and cook for me because, like,
You don't cook.
I'm a sob story.
Aww.
But they came and it was so good. I had my mother here. I had a bunch of other friends. It was great. You guys, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Ours isn't till November.
Oh, is it? Okay. I'm surprised you knew when the Canadian was. I thought they were at the same time.
Nope.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, anyways, I'm going to sign off, but we'll talk to you guys really
Bye.
soon. Okay, bye-bye. Say bye.
Bye. Great talking to you.
Hi.
Bye, Beverly.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Amy, you want to end this at this point as well?
Sure.
All right. A lot of fun. As I say, this is one of the really fun podcasts I've had in a while, Hangouts I've had in a while.
Agreed.
I got to have somebody who can actually speak English. That's what usually helps me. See you next week, hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.